Hello everyone and welcome to our today's class. On the table I have a bustier for your breast coat. You can see what I have here is very clear. It's an off-shoulder bustier. I have my tape, I have my brown paper, my ruler, and then my hip cuff to cover my under bust. This is an off-shoulder dress. It's called an off-shoulder dress because it doesn't have a shoulder joining. It's coming around the armhole to meet with a half length and then join with whatever you want to add, be a straight gown, or the downside you want to make it play, or it's a jumpsuit and you want to use this either to have the half length and then making it downside. But what I have here is from my off shoulder to my waist length. So this is it. I have my waist, my half length as 16 and a half, and so I added 1 inch to make it 17 and a half. So if I'm joining this with a dress at down, if I'm joining with the down part, it could be a skirt or whatever it is that I want to add it to it, I'll be using half to sew the waistline and half to sew the upper side of this pattern I have here, remaining my 16 and a half. That is totally accurate. So here I have my neckline. It says 7 inches. This is my armhole. I have it here. You can see my armhole. This is my round bust. I took 10 inches. My nipple point says 11. The underbust says 14 and a half, so it will curve in real deep. According to the bust measurement of this person, I don't need to make these angles very deep, but it will still come out real nice. My illustration here says my bust is 38, which is giving me 9.5 inches here. I added 1 inch that I took out of this angle. I'm going to be adding my 1 inch extra to hold back this place, and then extra 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. And here I have my under bust. It says 8 inches, which I took here. That's 32 divided into 4. I added my 1 inch to hold back the under part, which is more like the dart part holding of a bustier. And then the 1.5 I took around here from the side part of my bustier. I took 1.5 inches inside because my bust is not the big size. If it's a bust of 40 or 40 something, I will be taking 2 inches inward so it will curve in real good. Then around this area I will be taking 1/4, but with the size of the bust I have, I'm still at 30 something bust. I took 1 inch around this angle and 1.5 around this angle, you can see. So I'm going to be adding 1 inch after my measurement, 1 inch to hold back here when I'm sewing. In total of 1.5 and 1 inch is giving me 2.5 inches. If I cut this place off, that's a waist, so I must add it around this angle so I can replace it to the body measurement. And then I have my 1.5 inches here to sew. This is it. After my 1 inch to join, this is my 8, and 1 inch to join, this is my 2.5 inches that is going to leave here, and then my 1.5 inch sewing allowance to close the body. Then the waist angle says 34, which is giving me 8.5 inches. I have it here, and then around this angle you can see I took 1 inch, 1 inch around here, in total of 2 inches. I'm going to be replacing that 2 inches around here and add 1 inch to hold the two of them back when I am sewing, and my 1.5 inches to sew. You can use 2 inches to sew, whatever measurement you like to add to it, it's up to you. Then around this place to curve my bust, I will be using this and my ruler. First connect these two together, which is the down part, and then connect this like a dot line. You can see I did it there. And then around the upside, which is the neck angle, you can see I have the first armhole. I intentionally kept this. You can see this armhole is just too wide and cannot give me what I want around the neck. So this is my neck opening. I took 5 inches. You can see my 5 inches here, and then I added my ½ inch to sew in, so everything will correspond to the 5 inches I had there, in total of 10 around the front side. And then I took my neck measurement, depth of 7 inches, you can see. So when I finish sewing this, you find out that I don't have any allowance to move around my shoulder, around the round neck, I mean, because this bust cuff, when I take my hip cuff to cuff this is my neck, the depth of my neck. I come around there, you can see, and take my 1 inch in and 1 inch out, after which I've taken my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 8 inches. Divide it into 2 is giving you 4, and I'm adding half so that it will correspond on the person's body like a dart. You can see it, 4.5. I took it upward and ruled my line. So in between that line, I will take 1 inch in and 1 inch out around this angle. Then I take my hip curve and curve here. The side part of your bustier is meant to be deep around the under bust. You can see, looking very deep, so that when you finish sewing it will curve in real good. Somebody cannot be looking at you just directly from when they're walking opposite you. They can't really see that beauty, but when you're standing beside them, you see that curve under your bust. That is what is happening at the side. And here you see I didn't curve this place too deep. I just took it lightly inside. You see, it's corresponding. It's not as deep as this place. And then this is my 1 inch. This is my 1 inch. And then up here around the neck angle, which is this 5 inches I have here, and plus my ½ inch, I'll be taking extra 2 inches to add here. So from the point of these 2 inches, this is my main armhole I have here. So you see, so when I sew with 1.5 inches here, I still have my armhole to feel comfortable inside. So that is it. And then I will connect from this place. After I've curved this angle, I'll connect it to the upside from here, and then connect to meet my nipple point. As well, I'll do to this one. So you see, so when I finish doing this, if I'm placing on my material, I will be adding up here a bit with ½ inch, because when you finish closing up is you find out that this one is shorter and this one is longer. So we add a little to this. If this is a material, I'm supposed to add up here and then leave this one the way it is. So after sewing it, they will correspond. You can also leave it this way and then let her trim to round up, because you find out that this point is not meeting here. So when I finish closing up this place with my lining as well, I will go back to my table and shape this carefully on the table. Can you see, it's not going too deep and everything is correct. So I'll be sewing with just ½ inch on my machine. Can you see, just my ½ inch. You see, everything is looking very nice when you finish sewing. So this will be the neck. I will be taking off my shoulder with this after I taking all my ½ inch to sew here, which is 1 inch added. So that's it for this. Making your off shoulder bustier, you take your 5 inches, depending on how deep you want it to be. You can take 6, but for me I'm taking half. If you want it high, you use your 4 inches, depending on who you're making clothes for, but most times I like using half, so 5. So this is my 5. This is the depth of my neck. I have it here. This is my neck. If you want it very deep, you can use 8 inches. And if you're making a sweetheart, you can as well come in very deep here, and then around this your 5 inches, your 4.5, then you take your sweetheart, tip in with your free hand, or you do this. So you see, there you have your sweetheart, and then you sew your dress and everything is very clear for you to use. So don't forget you off your shoulder, your neck point, your armhole point, your bust point, your nipple point, the under bust, and then your half length. Don't forget to add 1 inch to sew with half at the upside, and then have to join, be a straight skirt or flay or a jumpsuit, whatever you want to sew with it, and then add your necessary allowance so that you don't go short of measurement. Okay, this is it. I'm going to be cutting this out so you see what it looks like. Armhole out. So I have this. So you see, completely taking my waistline out. This is it. I'll come here and take this out carefully. Around this angle, be very careful. Then I'll take this out. Then don't forget to knot so you can connect with your lining as well as here. You can as well leave your neck so that after preparing your lining and the body, you place together and shape out the neck you want. And then at this angle, I am going to be placing this carefully together so I can get my curve here. I'll be cutting this out like this. This is it. I will take this. You can see its curve is a bit deeper than that of the center part. So I have this. So this is it. This is what the center is going to look like. So you see. So if I'm going to be making a sweetheart neck, depending on how deep I want it to be, you can see after sewing this together, you can add your ½ inch if you want. You can also leave it. This idea you can see is corresponding. You can see the lines are corresponding, and even if I move this closer, they're also corresponding, even my measurement at the bottom. But I want to make this a sweetheart, a very deep one. I will be taking this from here. I'll take my hip curve and then curve this out depending on how deep you want it. This is how deep I want it, very deep. So I'll be doing this. So you see, ta-da! This is very tricky. So you see, after connecting this is just how it's going to be. You see it? Very easy for you. So you see, after connecting this, if you still feel like you want to trim this a bit, you don't want it very close to the body, because this sweetheart is not going to expose your bust, just the cleavage line is going to be open. If you feel like it's not enough, after joining this, you come to this point again. You can see my measurement, like I said. Then you come close to this place, joining them together, and we shape this way to come out very open and beautiful. You see, after sewing my half, I still have my standard measurement to feel comfortable around the chest angle. So this is it. Very easy. So that's it for the bustier. I'm sure this video will help you a lot in achieving your bustier, be you're doing a princess that bustier or your regular bustier. This idea is very simple and easy for you to use on your dress. So don't forget to like this video. Try to like this video, it's really useful. Drop your comments, hit your subscription bell there, and then follow us on our Facebook channel, our Facebook page there, so you could see lovely videos and the ones we posted before, and then learn some new things you don't have idea about. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell. We'll see you in our next tutorial class. Thank you.